Hello, everybody. Welcome to Revelation Now podcast. I'm going to start right off the bat here with this. Encounters hailed by Netflix fans as best UFO series ever. Now, I don't know exactly where this article got their information, but it is true. Netflix has put out a series that is somewhat connected to Steven Spielberg, who's put out quite a few. What we've got? We've got
Close Encounters, E.T.,
War of the Worlds.
I think he would maybe produce Super 8.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he was
he
part
did.
of that one as well.
It's a fun one.
He's connected to it. Amblin, I think, his production name company is part of that.
Produced it.
And I saw the first one. It's information or encounters that have been around for UFO stories, alien stories. They've actually been around for a while. They just have taken them and added their own footage, editing. But I was surprised in the first one how... Oh, let me just say, by the way, I'm Jeff. Hi. And I'm the host here. We've got our co-host Tyler is over there.
Shalom.
To my left, and Jason is
Hello,
over there
everybody.
to my right. We've just been enjoying this time that we get to hang out and just talk this subject. Like we said, Revelation came from, we did a series at our church on the book of Revelation. And from it, I just thought, wow, there's just so much here that can it be a matter of terminology? Angels, aliens, UFOs, or demons, what gives? Sometimes is it you feel like people are talking about one thing, and in your mind you're thinking that could be angels, not aliens. And surprisingly, to me, I guess not surprisingly, one way or the other, that's talked about in the very first episode of Encounters on Netflix.
We sure did.
The very first thing the guy says, could it be angels? And then you see the family sitting around the table, a real family.
Yeah.
Actually, this wasn't acting. And the dad is reading, what was he do? What did he do?
Ezekiel.
I know, but what does he do? What was his deal?
I can't remember.
I forget. He saw something. He was an official of some
Government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or part of the military or something, and he saw something, and he just...
Yeah, there's
But-
quite a bit of it in that show.
And he's saying, could it be angels? And then he's talking to his family, little kids sitting there. And he's reading them Ezekiel, wheel of a wheel. And there's angels in this craft in Ezekiel, and it's God's chariot, and it's coming down to earth, and it's touching on the earth. And so there we go. Again, it's that question, angels, aliens, which is it? I mean, what's going down here?
Yeah. It's funny we're talking about Spielberg and Encounters. Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's one of my favorites.
Sure, that's a type.
And it totally mixes those things
my God.
together.
Crystal Skull,
The
that's
way
an
we're
alien
talking
one,
about,
too.
yeah.
And he is great at building it up. You don't see it until the end, like you didn't see Jaws until the end, but you felt like you were.
Yeah.
You didn't see the glory of God until the end from the ark.
Yeah.
The face melting glory of God.
Oh, the best scene ever.
Yeah, wasn't that?
The face melter.
Yeah. Forget CGI. I'll take that.
Hey, that
I'll
was-
take the wax
Yeah.
melter.
The
any
clay
day.
animation
Yes.
melting down.
So good. But the whole premise of it is he's got something on him, this Encounters thing.
Spielberg.
Yeah, Spielberg. And for the record, his name is just on this Netflix show. He didn't actually make it. It's not,
Yeah.
he's a
he
producer.
didn't direct it. He didn't, yeah.
Somehow he's involved, but
Producing,
it's,
I guess he put his money behind it.
And his
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
Yeah.
his company. Yeah, my wife and I,
He approved it, obviously.
we've sat down so excited on multiple occasions to watch a new Guillermo del Toro thing on Netflix to find that it wasn't him at all.
right.
It's just like
Produced
he's
by-
there somewhere.
He signed a paper.
Yeah,
So,
Okay.
sure.
Obviously, though, he believes it.
yeah, but it's really well
Spielberg
done.
believes
It's
in
really
these
well
things.
produced.
Yeah.
It's captivating. It really draws you in. The stories.
Yeah.
the people, and it's a real life,
Real people.
and I love it.
Yeah.
Many of these stories are old, like you said.
Yep.
They're old, so now they're grown-ups.
Mhm.
So you see real footage of them
Yeah.
as kids. The one episode where they were in the school, is it in
Zimbabwe, maybe?
Zimbabwe? Yeah,
Yeah.
Zimbabwe. And they're in this classroom, and they all see something more or less at recess, and so you see this interviews, real interviews,
Yeah.
real live interviews when they were kids, and then you see them as adults grown up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're telling the same story.
Ye-
Whatever it is, they're sticking with it, right?
And I think it's I understand the people who are people of faith who, when this subject comes up, they're immediately laugh at it or dismiss it and all that kind of thing. But there's something,
Or get nervous and scared.
right. But there's something about it, that experience, especially like those kids, something happened there, and they have to kind of process it. And like people of faith, this is kind of part of our journey sometimes. You have some kind of experience,
Yeah.
spiritual experience, and then you have to live with that
Yeah.
afterwards. After it's gone, like, wait, did that happen? Was any
Oh.
of this real? Did,
I'm so glad
do
you
I
said
still believe this?
I'm so glad you said that, Jason, because I was thinking about just this word encounter and these stories. And like you just said, something happened, and now what? What comes next? It made me think of the Apostle Paul,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
road to Damascus.
Yeah.
You talk about an encounter.
Yeah.
It says right here, he was traveling. It happened that when he was approaching Damascus, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him.
Right.
Falling to the ground, he heard a voice.
He got beamed.
That was an encounter right there.
He
And
literally got hit by something.
And
Yeah.
from that
Supernatural.
point on,
Right.
this is what Jason just said. I love it. From that point on, that informed everything.
Mhm.
He spent the rest of his life processing, writing.
You wish God would
writing.
do that with all of us, but
But what's
it's
interesting?
rare. That
interesting
thing, by the way.
Sure.
in these encounter stories is the trying to it's like sometimes it goes really bad. These guys cannot process what happened. They become obsessed with it.
You could see
They
pain
don't like
on their
the
face.
It's the same with Bigfoot and Sasquatch. There's one that's out right now. I forget what it's called, Bigfoot Hunter or something. This guy literally gets obsessed with having it happen again.
Mm-hmm.
His wife ends up leaving him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His daughter tries to get medical care
Yeah.
to come in. And the guy was like an executive of a company.
Yes.
And he's out now. It's in Washington, out that way, where
What?
a lot of that happens. He camps every other go to different places, camps out in the wilderness now.
Yeah.
She feels he's just lost his daughter. She's older. Trying to get him to stop
Right.
doing it, go back to normal life.
That happens in the first
he
episode
can't
of
do it.
Encounters.
Yeah.
There's like a respectable
fella from
businessman.
Is that where it ended up? Yeah, it does. You're right.
in
the one
town?
guy. That's
He's,
right.
he's
He does.
successful. He's
Business
got a
owner.
family.
Wife
he,
leaves him.
He cannot get over this thing that
He can't.
happened. He's
Can't let it
taking
go.
his airplane out, searching for it, and
Yeah, especially
It's-
these fellas that are pilots, and they know the difference
mhm.
between an actual airplane and something that's not.
yeah,
That's
like it's sad.
and it messes with them. Like,
It's sad.
no,
And-
I didn't
Yeah.
see an airplane. I didn't see a balloon.
Right.
You know, that was the whole thing with Roswell.
Mhm.
I know Reggie and I, we go back and forth on that because I say it just conveniently happened where they test airplanes.
Right.
Don't you think that it probably was a balloon, a weather balloon? They tested those things back in the day, and they actually really were. Anyways,
Right.
I'm not a particular fan of Roswell. That's not that I don't believe all the other encounters and different ones, because that's where again we keep coming back to that. Blurred lines.
Mm.
Even this, I mean, do you feel now definitively after watching it, it's real?
No.
Yeah,
You
no.
don't. You never do.
It's the
You're always
classic,
left with that.
just out of reach.
But it-
I'll take it back. I will say definitively, I do think something is happening.
Something. That's
Yeah,
where
no,
we're
absolutely.
talking. Absolutely.
Something
But like the
like I'm
concrete-
saying, like it's sad what happened to this guy, but something happened to him
Yeah.
that he cannot stop looking for it. the
Right.
the literal proof that wait, something else came into this world.
Yeah, and for him, I love that episode too because there are multiple people that see this event, whatever it was,
Right.
and so for him, it was all consuming. Lost his wife, just like I mean, it was
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
But for the other
yeah.
guys, they're sitting around the campfire joking around about the flying Dorito.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it was kinda
and
lighthearted.
It can be,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's so true. That's true of faith in general.
Yeah,
Even religion, it's just like,
and
oh, yeah, sure.
and it can go in the, I guess we would call it in a positive way, like the Daily Wire fella who interviewed the psychic who became a Christian and left it all behind because she realized the thing she was channeling was an actual evil spirit.
Right.
She thought it kind of was this alien being, and
Right.
remember she had an encounter.
Yeah,
had
it's
a
Michael
business.
Knowles. He interviews a psychic or previous psychic, but part of it, what freaked her out, is that it wasn't a total scam.
right, exactly.
It's not a total scam. Something
it
was
actually
happening.
was real,
Yeah,
but just not what she thought.
right.
It did something. It like the thing gave itself away.
yeah,
Like it messed up.
she said.
He
Yeah,
had,
she
it
said.
had her conned, this being.
Yeah,
And then it's like, whoa, he did something.
Got
He's
greedy.
she had an encounter. She
Yeah.
saw something.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
freaked her out. It freaked her like, whoa, maybe this is
I-
the wrong team.
I'll be honest, that happened in my life when I started, was messing around with some things in high school. You begin to, it's kind of, attractive, that stuff, and it's very in the mind at first.
Yeah,
Kind of in it, it's messing with your mind, these things.
yeah. I think there's.
And then you play with it a little bit, even if it's, getting high and different things, and that something's kind of playing around. But then you see little glimpses of, wait a second, this kind of has a darkness to it. Because it is. There is stuff out there that's dark. And I guess that's our question today with this encounter is it good or evil? Because that's the thing with Spielberg. He got accused of, are you sure it's all going to be good?
Yeah,
When it shows up, little heartfelt, loving ETs.
Yeah, and for those that haven't watched the series, we're not trying to spoil too much of it, but there is an overarching theme through all four.
This is before he even did it.
Yeah, there's an overarching theme through all four where, it seems to be well-intended beings.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
mhm.
Yeah. But when I read Revelation, there's going to be one in the last days. It says there's going to be more of this type of activity,
Yeah.
a dimensional activity, beings showing up in and out, and one day they're going to fully happen.
I think it just depends. If you say, is it good or bad? We were just talking about the Apostle Paul.
That was good.
He had a good encounter.
Correct.
Sure.
Because there's the other way you can go where it's just you shut down on all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a person of faith, I have to take that leap.
Right.
There's the other alternative is to just, it's total materialism. There is no other,
Right.
Or fear.
or
Devil behind every bush.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That sort of thing as well.
I don't think any of them were negative. I can't remember all of them.
I don't
right
think
offhand.
so.
First of all, in Genesis, you've got a good encounter and bad, and within 3 chapters.
Yep.
God is a good encounter. Adam and Eve were experiencing a being.
Sure. Walked in the garden
Mhm.
with him. Then something else shows up
Hey,
in the
name
garden.
name these animals, boy. Come on, this is awesome.
Yeah, something else shows up.
And then there's literally something else. The Natash. I forget the exact Hebrew word is. It's got a real serpenty feel to it, but it's angelic serpenty feel, more than animal. Or it's like a mixture. Like it was not in any way. The encounter Eve had. She was not over. Well, how do you say it? She didn't freak out.
Yeah. Why is that snake talking?
Oh, it's like, yeah, she was like, this dude, whatever it was exactly.
Well, Also, it
She
deceived.
communicated with it. It
Deceived.
communicated with
It
her.
deceived her.
Yeah.
It
and
lied.
It completely played
That's
up
the creepy
this
part about
whole
all of this.
crazy thing.
Is the deception part.
Mhm.
There's one on there. It's set in Japan.
Man,
That one gave me the creeps.
Man,
really
the scriptures talk about this a lot.
And encounters?
Truth
bad. Encounters,
versus
the one
error.
with the nukes.
Yeah.
There's a whole subculture of people who have made contact and are. I don't even know how to describe it. They're
Yeah.
It's like a religion now.
Well,
Like literally
exactly.
in Japan.
Oh wow.
And so that jumped out at me too, because they talked about how they don't really have a religion per se of their country. There's no
yeah.
there's no connecting religion. They just have a lot of this
Spiritualism.
spirituality.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, yeah.
It's in the
And
anime
all
a
these,
lot.
it
You see
is,
it,
and my
yeah.
boy is so into manga
It
and
is.
anime
They talk
right
about
now.
that
You
a
talk
lot.
about alien stuff.
Yeah.
Anime is
I'm
just
watching
and superheroes and
Almost
the
every
gods
night now we
and
watch an episode or
goddesses
two of a thing
and
called
they're
Death
straight up
Note.
demon stuff.
Yeah. Spirited Away. They talk
Yeah.
about that in it.
Man, that was incredible.
But they're
Yeah, it
when I
is.
first saw that.
but they're open
Spirited Away movie.
They're open,
to
right?
something.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of in a weird way. It's so weird because in America we're very much, Christianity at the forefront and faith. And I don't know what the current numbers are, but 60, 70, 80% believe in a God. But at the same time, there's also this kind of incredulous poo-pooing of the supernatural
Right.
and all that kind of stuff here. Whereas they don't have that connective.
Yeah.
Relig-
Sometimes they were.
But they're the opposite. Oh yeah, there's this thing, this stuff, these things. Of course,
right.
and it's not ancient. It's modern.
Yeah.
Now, 2023, Japan.
Yeah.
They're talking about.
Yeah.
Just have this understanding.
Well, part of
these
it was
things.
creepy there. The guy, not creepy, but interesting. He has some pretty old drawings and things there that are of crafts. I think it was from 1800s or something, like the way they did the news back in the day, and the drawings look exactly like the crafts that they're seeing right
The
now.
classic.
Yeah, like it was the same thing back then. Visiting.
Oh,
them.
with the lady.
Yeah, the
Oh
lady.
My gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That one. That one was really interesting.
It is, and there's footage in there that I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Can you
wild.
believe it? Can you not believe it?
Yeah, kind of look like drones. Could be drones, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny because you say that. To me, it's like, are those angels?
Right.
They just almost at times look like this kind of just bright, wingy, and then they all merge into one,
Mm-hmm.
which was so strange too.
Yeah. I think that's part of it too. With there's some of this actual footage. I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And there's one guy on the encounters he's in the first episode. He was in the Air Force, and he's one of the first guys to come across this radar footage of the craft. And he's just sitting there. It's like shell shocking. Like again, I think it messed his life up.
Yeah.
He's like, I couldn't stop watching it because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like he just keeps playing this radar footage of this craft over and over and over. Like I couldn't stop watching it because I couldn't believe
Yeah.
this was actually happening. Like it totally messed him up.
Yeah, but yet we're not so overwhelmed though that we stop daily routines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we talked about that before in the past about when our government actually released from footage
Mm-hmm.
said, yeah, we can't explain this.
Nobody
We
cared.
really saw it.
Yeah.
Really saw these things flying around doing all these maneuvers that you cannot do with our technology and our craft.
Yeah, but that's always the rub. The technology that we know they have.
Yeah.
It still could be. They're just not telling us about it yet.
Yeah.
It's
I know. I watched a clip of Bill Weiss. You know who Bill Weiss is? 23 Minutes in Hell.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He'll broach this subject too, because he gets a lot of questions about that very thing, and he does a little podcast thing. The fella's he's an interesting minister. If you follow him close enough, you know he experienced something too.
Right.
I mean, he's believed worldwide. I mean, he has his critics, but he was just minding his own business type of guy.
Yeah.
And next thing, he said the Lord thrust him into this. Go tell people it's real. But anyway, there is there life on other planets? And he did an episode. He's like, absolutely not. He's the God of Earth. He said there's no scripture that talks about him being the God of any other planets with life, and he's like, it's all right here. Even Satan is here. The demonic thing, because he saw it when he had that experience in hell. Saw them, just the thousands upon thousands of creatures. He's like, they're not showing up from out there.
Right.
What you're seeing is somehow all connected
It's funny you say that.
to our realm,
I saw a clip of
our solar system.
Tom DeLonge talking about that. And his big thing was it's not space.
Really?
Yeah. He said what we've come to believe is it's interdimensional. It's not space.
Now he's going scriptural.
Yeah, it was immediate. He said, you guys keep thinking it's
Bible
outer
already
space
talks
aliens.
about
Nobody, actually in that community, it's more and more, nobody thinks that.
Because it's
They all think it's interdimensional.
because it doesn't work
It doesn't add up.
because of the laws.
Yeah.
You can't really get anywhere. You'd have to go interdimensional.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if
Because
you're
you can't
seeing-
have physical crafts that go the speed of light.
So if you're seeing something, you're just seeing something where a veil's been lifted, or a curtain's been torn open.
Yeah, one way or
some
the
kind
other.
of portal that
Yeah.
came in.
It's either glitches or divinely
Just-
permitted things. They show up here, or the person sees it too. Like I know Kenneth Hagin had certain ones where he's seeing something, nobody else is seeing it.
Yeah.
Like he's seeing an angel, seeing an angel, and the whole experience in a service.
Yeah.
Well, I just
And
think-
nobody else is seeing it. He's
That's
like,
the
he's
anime-
pointing like it's right there. It's
The
right there.
anime that Noah and I are watching right now, the lead character, he's the only one that can see this being
yeah.
because he touched the book, and since he touched the book, he can see the guy, but no one else can see him. But if they touch a piece of paper from the book, then they can see him too.
What was that B movie that people love with the wrestler? He put on the glasses and he would see.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. Roddy Piper.
People love that one.
It's
And also because they feel like it could, wouldn't that be something if you could put on glasses and see the aliens acting like they're real humans, but you see their faces would turn into alien looking. So that theme's been around with it. But we're encounters. Yeah. What a word. Encounters. Very charismatic movement. That became a big part of it. Huge. Encounters with the Holy Spirit.
They Live. Sorry.
They live. Okay.
They Live. It's in popular culture, it became a huge thing. The whole Obey, if you've ever seen Obey, the whole clothing line, an artist, Shepard Fraley, it all came from that. Obey. It's like a play on when he puts on the glasses, he can see what's really happening.
Yeah.
And there's all this propaganda and stuff that's going on that people don't realize they're being manipulated, and it's it's a classic. He puts it on, he can see.
And that was
See
all
it,
X-Files theme, really.
Yeah.
Seeing behind the scenes
And it's
as to what's all going on.
I mean, that's certainly biblical.
Could it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of this world, wicked spirits in the heavenlies. I mean, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something happening, and you want to be on the side of truth. You want to be on the side of, I would say, Christ, the right part of it. I know what used to scare me in a good way, I guess you would say, is Ephesians 2, where it talks about how he made us alive who were dead in trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air.
Hmm.
What, the air, the atmosphere. There's some kind of power in our atmosphere that's causing us to walk on a course that's in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Mm. And on the flip side, it can go the other way. Where
Then
early
you got-
Ephesians 1 says that you've been blessed
I
with
mean,
every spiritual blessing.
Don't you feel
in
like
the
there
heavenly
was
realms.
over your own life, in your own life? Don't you feel that there was a dark light battle
Oh, yeah.
influences in our lives? I don't think there's many people who would, I think an atheist would say, yeah, to that.
Yeah.
Angel on the one shoulder, devil on the other shoulder. Even if they didn't believe in that stuff, they've been pulled this way or that,
Yeah.
the right way, the wrong way. Everybody experiences that.
Right.
But the scriptures just say there's more to it than
Like-
you know.
They take the next step. The Bible.
Yeah.
There's a bit of
Our other,
literal.
the UFO take it too.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot folk take it too. The cults take it too. The spiritualists take it too. And go forth with it.
Yeah, I was thinking that there's a song in the in Encounters. I heard it. I was like, oh, I remember that song. It's an old Carpenter song.
Yeah, you play. That was
It's a
amazing.
trippy song. It's called "Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft."
Wow, you gotta say that again.
Calling occupants of interplanetary craft.
I heard it. Jason sent it to me. It's
And-
an actual song.
It's a song. It was the Carpenters' last.
Oh, you
big
gotta
hit.
play a little bit of it.
I don't want to. I think they'll shut us down.
man.
And it's super. They did like a really hokey version of it where aliens are talking and stuff. And it's Karen Carpenter. I mean,
They didn't write it.
such a beautiful voice, but it came from another group actually.
Were they in Canada?
Canadian group called. Oh gosh, I forget. It's another group.
You sent it. It's on the text.
Claw 2. Okay, that was the group. It was another group called Claw 2 from Canada. And anyways, they wrote the song and then the Carpenters made it big. And I was like, man, this is a strange song. And because it starts off with her talking about making contact through your mind with these beings and all this stuff, and through meditation or whatever. And come to find out, the song was written from an actual event that had happened. And the guy says, this idea for this track was suggested by an actual event that is described in The Flying Saucer Reader, a book by J. David, published in 1967. In March 1953, an organization known as the International Flying Saucer Bureau
Real deal now.
sent a bulletin to all its members urging them to participate in an experiment termed World Contact Day, whereby at a predetermined date and time, they would attempt to collectively send out a telepathic message to visitors from outer space. The message began with the words, calling occupants of interplanetary craft.
Basically, calling you UFO alien folk.
They were trying to make contact themselves
All of them were going to send
at the same time. And at first
through their mind.
I
mind
jokingly
contact.
told Jeff that it was like a international prayer meeting, but it was more like an international, like a cult summoning. Some of this stuff crosses over with this like summoning, like it's
And-
very similar.
And now we're back. This
So
is 1953, and yet when you see the Mayans,
yeah.
they all did that.
Yes.
In the Old Testament, you see that the calling out to the gods
Yeah. They're trying to make
to
contact.
please the gods to come help us and or don't stop hurting us, and
Yeah.
through all the rituals,
Yeah.
it's just constant. And then 1950, that comes back. Now we're full circle, when, like from our first podcast episode, is this stuff has not gone away. It's just, and all the more so, if according to the scriptures, it's just going to increase. But what you got to do is you got to watch, like we were talking earlier, is the obsessive part.
Yeah.
You got to keep that balance. You got to stay in the Word of God. You got to feel for the truth, because there's a lot that talks about in the last days the deception part of it.
What's also interesting in Hebrews 11:6, the famous like faith chapter, there's part of this that I keep saying there's part of it they're right, and part of it they're super off.
Yeah.
But Hebrews 11:6, it says, "Now without faith it is impossible to please him." So you have to believe something is there. And then it says, "For the one who approaches God must believe that he exists," which is really interesting that he's even saying that. You have to believe he exists. "And that he rewards those who seek him." Like seek him out, like trying to make contact with him.
Right.
That's like that is actually the biblical side of that is seeking him. It's this seeking of this just random sort of open-ended spiritual experience, just in generic terms,
Right.
where it gets really, I think, dangerous. Just we're going to seek the spirits. What spirit? Who are they? What are you talking about? You know,
I just saw it again. Where did we just read? I love that we're reading the New Testament. One chapter a day, Monday through Friday.
First Timothy, I bet.
I would suggest it for anybody. Oh, it's been so good. The last Thessalonians, where he gets into the Antichrist in just a few chapters. 2 Thessalonians and 1 Thessalonians. Even then, they were talking about encounters.
yeah,
Big time. But he talks about how when the Antichrist shows up, a lot of it is going to be deceptive. It's going to be miracles from this fella.
mm-hmm.
I mean, some crazy stuff happening. People are going to be swept in
Yeah,
by him. But he's not going to show up until something has been taken away. But we don't want to go into that, but that's part of it in the sense of encounters. And I think too, why a lot of this happens is because we do long for it.
right. That's what I'm saying. There's part of those people
we
are
really do.
absolutely right. They're correct to want to seek something more.
I mean, it says right there, they were seeking in a city whose builder is God.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting verse because you're reading there in Hebrews. They actually were, Abraham thought he was going to run into Yahweh's city on his journey. He actually never even settled down.
Yeah.
People don't know that. He was nomadic till the day he died.
Yeah. He never saw it.
But he believed it.
Yeah.
That seems to be a big, big deal with Elohim Yahweh in that realm with it. Now, have you guys, we've done it before, encounters. We've asked that question, haven't we?
Who's had an encounter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ours has been no. And you see, though, like what's his name? Stan Gordon, I forget. He's from Pennsylvania. He's in a lot of this stuff. He started when he was 15 years old, investigating.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a pretty big dude. He's funny, though, too. Wow, I mean, that's years ago. Like, he was there for, I forget the name of it. They've had some crazy events in Pennsylvania because they've kind of got that mountainous area. People don't realize that there.
Yeah.
And that's in Pennsylvania. But he talks about it. Now, I've never had, he's got a certain voice. I personally have never witnessed. And yet he's still pulled in.
Yeah.
His whole life is it.
I think there's part of it, like we kind of approach it. It gets pretty intense, but there's part of it that's just, I think, fun. That's just exciting.
I love it.
I just like it.
I love the subject of heaven too.
I
Hell,
like
scary.
sci-fi stuff
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
Like it's not. Some of it's heavy, and some of it I find it interesting. I find it fascinating.
Some of my favorite stuff is
It's not that
sci-fi,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
That's my favorite genre. So
What was the one that really caught me? It's been a few years, but I remember thinking, man, he's so right there. It's the Alien one. Who did that one?
oh, the alien.
It's actually called Alien. Sorry. It's called Alien.
Aliens?
James
Yeah.
Cameron?
Yeah, it's not him. The original guy did it.
Ridley Scott?
Yeah, Ridley Scott.
Oh, Ridley Scott stuff's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what's the one? He did Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner's killer.
It's just the best. And but the other ones, the recent ones he did, he took over.
Prometheus? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
What was the first one that came out?
Aliens.
I know, but then he modernized it and went for it again. And he used that one particular actor who plays the.
Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, it's Sigourney, but she's not in these. Let me get him.
I think you're talking about Prometheus.
I am.
That
Alien,
was-
Alien Covenant,
That movie was
Prometheus,
wild.
and Alien Covenant.
Yeah. Prometheus is one of my favorites of all
Yeah.
time.
Prometheus,
So good.
that was the one. Like, man,
So good.
where the guy comes and puts the DNA in the water.
Yeah.
Yes.
The ship shows up,
Yes.
and this crazy-looking being comes out, humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
He puts the DNA in the water. And that's how we
they
get.
call them engineers.
And that's how we get going. All of that it's like you almost, part of me was like, it's more true than he
Exactly.
maybe realizes.
Yeah.
God did come down and he took his DNA and made this being in his
yeah.
image and likeness, this person.
when that
And we did come from that kind of,
when that came out, I
supernatural.
geeked out on it. He was actually it didn't do well.
no,
It did, and I was bummed
'Cause it
because
freaked people out.
it wasn't the
over
traditional
the head.
more horror story
Right.
deal. It was more story building kind of thing. But he had this whole story. It was going to include Jesus in it.
Yeah. There's
That
people
they
that
had
did it.
come and tried to help us, and we killed him.
We did.
It was-
And we did.
we actually did. Yeah.
The Scots, that's very encounter-ish with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, going all the way back in the encounters.
Yeah, and I think too with modern technology and entertainment, it's like visually, it's putting like a whole different kind of flesh and blood and skin and bone on it. Like
Yeah.
to see things, like
Yeah.
even with that documentary with Encounters, there's just the quality of it.
And
like
I don't know
Jason-
what
we
is
want something.
what is that though? Because there's part of it that is just good, old-fashioned fun. There's something like magical and
well,
exciting,
reason
like
I've-
Star
the reason
Wars and
I've-
all this stuff.
Right.
You
The
know?
reason I bring it up is the other day you sent us an Instagram post of like a AI Bible, the AI Bible official account,
Mhm.
and it was talk about an encounter. It was at Exodus 19.
That's
Sinai.
awesome.
Yeah.
And it was like, you've got your Sunday school version of that and whatnot, but that one was like
Powerful.
intense,
It
like
was.
just fire in the skies and explosions
the
and lightning and like
coming out, and it was organized.
and the music was
Swirling around.
like this just intense music. And I just thought to myself, man, that just put a whole different spin on this for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have that too with like our modern.
We want it. Again, like I was just
Yes.
thinking about it with the Sphere, with you too. Totally wanting to experience something. Something in our DNA. Talk about wanting to experience something how far are we going to go now? Over the top, this huge round video.
I kept cracking up as it
IMAX, max. Reminds me of a Seinfeld joke about detergent.
You know, it's funny. I was
Super max
outside the
clean.
other day, and because I keep watching footage of that show, the U2 show at the Sphere. It's
We're
the
in one.
world.
We are in one.
It's the canopy over. It's that big. You're literally in a globe. You're in the world at that point. It looks like it. You go outside, like IMAX Sky version. You know?
IMAX Planet version, Biosphere.
Yeah.
They're in this huge biosphere
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
It's funny you say that because, like, first and foremost, my reaction to that Sphere footage was, wow, that's just game changing, like,
Yeah.
incredible. But also, after the fact, after I just was taken in by the grandiose incredibleness of it, I was also starting to kind of laugh and crack up. Like, U2 just looked like this tiny town nothing ants.
Maybe even
Like I
on
was
purpose. I think
like
they
you
did.
could barely
yeah.
even see the band, which is a real shift because concerts. It's all about gotta get as close as you can to the artist and
Hey,
see them up close. And
I
this
wonder,
was just like,
did they ever put them on the screen?
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They're
Did they go in and out? I
huge,
never saw it.
several stories
The
tall
bubbles are the
version of
best. So
Bono,
Bono is
flying
huge.
around.
Oh,
Yeah,
they all have their own little floating bubbles they were
Mhm.
in, and totally.
yeah. But there's something in us, even with this subject, where I get the implications of some of the heaviness, but then it's just there's part that's just like kind of exciting. I think even it's Halloween right now. Like we were in the neighborhood, and some of these people they're just
Oh, it's the best.
animatronics,
$50,000
over the top,
worth of
like
stuff.
it's something exciting. My kids love it.
Mm-hmm.
They go nuts over the idea of experiencing, something more, something extra.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I think
Right.
too, it's the sense of that awe and wonder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
You see that in a kid, you lose it a little bit.
The whole idea that there's something magical that
Yeah.
could happen, that's cool.
You
I
see the
I
magic
like
a lot
that.
as a kid.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
and I love that C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien tried to hold on to that in their writing and
True.
stuff.
They
There was
absolutely
part
did.
of them that's saying, guys, why are Christians not making more, better fantasy or better artwork? That's like they really appreciated the wonder and magic of life. I think
Yeah. Well, Revelation 7. After this I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth. What's that about? So that no wind blow on the earth or on the sea or on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun, having the seal of the living God. Man. Revelation 8, and I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and the 7 trumpets were given to them. Revelation 22, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you. I find comfort if we might not see a thing until the day of the Lord, but we still can trust that our Father for the help. And it's going to be interesting to see one day the encounters that we didn't see, but angel, perhaps our guardian, say, yeah, play back the video and say, yeah, I helped you right there. You didn't really know it, but yeah, I kind of pushed you to
I was right there.
I
say
pushed
to-
you to go that right. Yeah, you were about dead right there, buddy.
Yep.
Humble
But
brag.
I whispered in your ear. Yeah,
If you only knew.
yeah. If you only knew.
If you only knew what was going on the unseen.
Psalm 91:11. For he will give his angels charge concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Hey guys, thank you for listening. And this is a blast. We just enjoy what we're doing here. Tell others about it. Rev Now Podcast, Revelation Now. You can subscribe at the different places because we're going to continue, and we'll see you next week. We'll hear ya, and you'll hear us. Thank you.
Until the next encounter.
Till the next.